If you are a new believer, if you are a new believer, this video is for you. First and foremost, guys, I've been on my walk with God for about 5 years straight, since 2021 to 2025, present. I was baptized in 2017, but I really started pouring into my relationship with God in 2021 up to now. And here are a few things that I've learned. First and foremost, in 2021, I was at my lowest and I ran to God. And when I mean ran to God, I mean ran to God. Each service, I was worshiping, I was crying, I was on my knees, I was bawling my eyes out. I didn't know myself, I didn't recognize myself. I was not the woman you see today. I needed healing. That's first and foremost. I needed healing. I was broken. I had past traumas. I was dealing with so much anger, resentment, unforgiveness. I literally had so many feelings bundled up in my heart. I didn't even know how to let it go. I didn't have a good relationship with my mom. I was all up in my attitude, all up in my own ego, all up in my own pride. I just wanted things my way. I didn't have no communication, no way of wanting to communicate with nobody. It was either my way or the highway. I never communicated. I was never understanding. I was a lot, okay? I was a lot. But from 2021 to the woman you see today, I've been working on myself. It took me 3 years, guys, 3 years to really heal from my past. And what I mean by my past, I mean everything I've ever dealt with. Like I said, guys, I didn't communicate. I didn't even know myself. I didn't have confidence in myself. But the more I gave in to my relationship with God, the more I dived into His Word, the more I began to see Jesus through me. Now, what did that look like and how do you get there? Well, first and foremost, the woman you see today on this screen is not who I was in 2021, 2022, 2023, and so on and so on. It took a lot for me to get here. It took a lot of surrendering. It took a lot of prayer. It took a lot of going to church on Sundays. It took a lot of going to different communities. It took a lot of going to different groups. It took a lot, okay? And one thing that I would highly suggest is give yourself credit, give yourself your flowers, because this isn't an easy path, an easy route, an easy journey. It's not easy. When I tell you it's so easy to fall short, it's so easy. But the minute you start starving your flesh and pouring into your spirit, you will begin to realize how the struggle becomes stronger. But when it comes to God, God will renew your strength. Now, things that I've done from 2021 to 2025 that have helped me build my relationship with God, to help me get to this point, from healing to being healed, from hurting to being healed, was this. When I go to the gym, I listen to sermons. I used to listen to a lot of motivational audios that would push me to go harder, but I started using any little thing to help pour into my spirit. So that was one. Every time I'm at the gym, whether I'm doing the Smith machine, if I'm doing core workouts, if I'm doing cardio, I will listen to sermons. Now, the sermons are about 45 minutes, maybe an hour long. Pretty much they're the whole workout session. If I'm doing cardio and I want to run faster, I would just put worship music or maybe a motivational Christian audio, depending on how I'm feeling. 2, I started sitting in silence. I started being intentional with wanting to hear God, where I stopped trying to be so busy in my to-dos. Like, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. This is what I gotta do. I have to run this. Like, every time I had something to do, I would make sure that if I'm on my way to a specific location, and let's say it was 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 30 minutes, I would sit in silence so I can be able to hear God. Another thing that I started doing was every time I go into my car in the morning, like whether it's in the morning, it's in the afternoon, whatever it is, the first time I get in my car, I would pray. Whether I'm heading to work, whether I'm heading to the gym, like if it's the first time I'm getting in the car that day, I am praying. I'm using that time to pray. Another thing, I stopped listening to secular music. I do not listen to dembow, Afro beats, reggaeton, hip hop, rap music. I don't listen to no more secular music. I used to listen to a lot of Afro beats, a lot of dembow music, a lot of that kind of secular music. And I ended up reversing it to Christian music. So now I listen to Christian rap, Christian worship music. I listen to Christian dembow music, like Christian worship based. Another thing that I also started doing was being more intentional with how much time I spent in my word. If I know that I'm on a gap between my morning route and my afternoon route and I have a good 3 hours, out of those 3 hours, I would make sure I would spend an hour or 30 minutes or 40 minutes in my word. If I know that, you know, I have I'm on a time crunch and time is pretty tight, I wouldn't do it because I feel like I'm rushing to spend time with God and I'm rushing reading the Bible. I like to read the Bible knowing that I have time to sit there and not have to be on my phone constantly checking the time, or putting an alarm, because then I feel like I'm kind of like controlling how much time I'm spending in God's word, and I want to make sure that I'm really spending time with God and I'm being intentional with spending time with God, that I'm not just doing it because I want to get it over with. No. Another thing that I've also been doing is that when I have free time, instead of me scrolling on my phone, I use it to pour into my spirit. Now, I'm not going to lie. Guys, let's be honest. We live in this world. We're not perfect Christians. We're not reading our Bibles 24/7. We're not worshiping 24/7. Yes, guys, I do watch Netflix. Yes, I do watch a movie. Yes, I do watch shows. But what I'm saying is that I prioritize my time and I pour more into my spirit than my flesh. I pour more into my spirit than the world. So whatever it is that I'm doing, I make sure that it's pouring into myself and it's doing good to me. I'm not watching movies with sex scenes, and if there is sex scenes, I'll skip it. I'm not going to the clubs. I'm not, leaving my house at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. to go hang out with a friend. Like, I'm not doing certain things. That's another thing that comes with this journey is sacrifice. You have to understand that the life that you chose may not be the life that God is choosing for you. And in that case, you have to decide out of your free will, will I say yes to this or will I say yes to this? And that is what's going to determine you building more strength and you pouring more into your spirit rather than your flesh. So like I said, guys, I didn't get to this point where I'm at today just because it was one day through another. Guys, I used to be down on my knees crying, breaking down out of anger, not understanding why I had so much anger built up inside of me. But when I started to realize it's because I wasn't spending time with God and I wasn't being intentional with my walk, then I started to see that I was more into my flesh than I was in my spirit. So the more I started to starve my flesh, the more I started to see more clear what God wanted me to see. And that's why I'm where I'm at today. I've done the work. I'm doing the work, and I'm still going to be doing the work for years and years and years, because this isn't a once in a lifetime thing. This is a everyday commitment, an everyday sacrifice. So guys, those are some things that have helped me with my walk. At the end of the day, guys, you have to ask yourself, am I going to pour into my flesh or am I going to pour into my spirit? Am I going to say yes to this and no to this? And understand that everything you do has to help you become a better version of yourself and become the woman or the man that God has called you to be, because it's not an easy journey, but every single day you have to decide to do right by God. And we're all gonna sin. No one's perfect, but every single day you have to forgive others, forgive yourself, love yourself, and always choose God, just like God will always choose you.